Having read as much as I could about these events, I would like now to put in writing and on the net my thoughts and predictions. The left liberal media, as usual, are criminal in their misuse and perversion of language. They are labeling Anders Behring Breivik as either an extremist Christian, a fundamentalist Christian, a far-right nutcase, etc. Let us look at the facts. A fundamentalist Christian is one who believes in and follows in the footsteps of Jesus. No human being can find a single verse in the New Testament inciting the followers of Jesus to slaughter anyone. Hence, he is most definitely not acting out the precepts of fundamentalist Christianity. This should and must be pointed out in all communications regarding this matter. On the other hand, this man is most definitely a Norwegian nationalist who is worried sick at the fact that his country is being flushed down the sewer of political correctness by allowing his nation to be flooded with Muslim immigrants, Muslims who will never integrate in any society that does not follow Sharia. His is a political and not a religious act. Furthermore, he is not a nutcase, nor is he out of his mind, no matter how horrible his actions were. From his perspective, he is making the ultimate expression of rebellion against the current left-wing political establishment elite, who are willingly and willfully destroying the very Judeo-Christian liberal foundations of his people. That is why he did not attack Muslims. He slaughtered the children, relatives and supporters of the very politicians running his country. He has started what I believe to be the first step of a European civil war, a war that I predicted on numerous occasions in my radio talks, that will be initiated and developed by ordinary men and women in Europe who have had enough of sucking up to Islam, Muslims, terror and Sharia. They know that these left-leaning liberals are aiding, abetting and colluding with the very Muslims who publicly and very clearly declare their intentions to Islamize, subjugate or exterminate all those who are not Muslims. During and after the Geert Wilders kangaroo trials in the Netherlands, I asserted that the peoples of Europe are worried, that their politically correct leaders are out of step with the people, that they are out of touch with facts and or reality, that the people will revolt. What is happening in most European countries as we speak are new, offshoot political parties whose agenda is to limit and even reverse the flow of Muslim immigrants who are gaining 15 to 20% of the electoral votes even though they have no political track record. In summation, this terrorist is not misguided. On the contrary, he is an extremely focused, calculating, selfless, single-minded man. He has temporarily and intentionally turned himself into a highly organized and efficient killing machine to make a political statement, no matter how vile his deed was. From his perspective, he is only countering the shallow and discredited tactics of the liberals who are supporting the very enemies of democracy, the Muslims. Already, the left-wing liberal media are trying to make him into a Nazi. It is ironic that they are labeling him a Nazi as if this were an insult. Is not Nazi, after all, an acronym for National Socialist German Workers' Party? Nationalist Socialist Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, commonly known in English as the Nazi Party, abbreviated from the pronunciation of National Sozialist. Is not Nazism, after all, part and parcel of socialism? I would like our listeners to ponder this carefully. They are doing their utmost to hide the fact that Angela Merkel of Germany, Sarkozy of France, and Cameron of the United Kingdom have already admitted that multiculturalism has utterly failed. In fact, they are wrong. As usual with left-wingers, they either pervert the meaning of words or are too stupid to understand them. Multiculturalism is very successful. It only fails with Muslims. In Europe, there are ethnics from India, Vietnam, China, Japan, Korea and others who are part and parcel of the fabric of Europe and add a very beautiful multicolored rainbow to it. Each of the above have kept their traditions, but integrated into and among their host peoples. The odd people out are the Muslims, who are totally and unambiguously prohibited from ever integrating with any human group that does not follow Sharia. For those who are in doubt, I challenge any human being on earth to disprove the following crystal clear Quranic verses. Al-Anfal 8.55. For the worst of beasts in the sight of Allah are those who reject Him. They will not believe. La yu'minuna. These beasts that Allah is mentioning are all unbelievers. That is, all non-Muslims called kuffar in Arabic. Al-Tawbah 9.29. Fight, qatilu, those who believe not in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden, which has been forbidden by Allah and His Apostle Muhammad, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, Islam, even if they are of the people of the book, Christians and Jews, until they pay the jizya, poll tax, with willing submission and feel themselves humiliated. Just to make sure that the listeners would believe what I'm revealing, I would like to put forth a challenge worth $50,000 to the first person who can show us all a single operative verse in Muhammad's Quran that demonstrates any compassion and mercy to all unbelievers. Unbelievers represents 80% of current humanity, whom I call Ummatul Kuffar, or nation of infidels, all Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, Jews, atheists, agnostics, etc. That is, any and all those who are not Muslims. 50,000 for just one little verse. Any takers? Al-Tawbah 9.33. It is He who has sent His apostle with guidance and the religion of truth to proclaim it over all other religions. Al-Imran 3.85. If anyone desires a religion other than Islam, submission to Allah, never will it be accepted of him. These verses remind me of Hitler's Mein Kampf, the Nazi master race creed. Al-Bayna 98.6. Those who reject the truth of Islam, among the people of the book, Christians and Jews, and among the polytheists, will be in hellfire to dwell therein forever. They are the worst of creatures. Al-Ma'idah 5.51. O ye who believe, take not the Jews Yahud, and the Christians Nasara, for your friends and protectors. They are but friends and protectors to each other, and he amongst you that turns for them for friendship is of them. Al-Imran 3.118. O ye who believe, take not into your intimacy those outside your religion, pagans, Jews and Christians. They will not fail to corrupt you. They only desire your ruin. Rank hatred has already appeared from their mouths. What their hearts conceal is far worse. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anyone listening who has not absorbed or understood the hate-mongering, war-mongering, misogynist, racist, vile, and most assuredly ungodly verses that I just recited from Muhammad's Quran? What Anders has done is most certainly not his normal nature or pattern of behavior. He has actually intentionally targeted the appeasers and supporters of Islam with the bitter taste normally experienced by the usual victims of Islam. As a rule, when Muslims carry out such atrocities on each other or outsiders, most people in the rest of the world have been programmed to shrug their shoulders and indeed turn a blind eye to anything that may possibly further offend or upset the perpetrators of these acts. What happened in Norway is a shock simply because blind supporters of Islam are not currently accustomed to experiencing firsthand the extreme violence this very rare case inspired in this young man out of sheer frustration and anger, bottled up without lawful means of expression in the stifling politically correct death throes of the Western world. For the last 65 years, these left-leaning political parties in Europe have been practicing social engineering upon their own people. They have been under the utterly misguided idea that all humans are equal. Humans are equal under the law. They are entitled to liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. Otherwise, they are not equal. Some are more productive, inventive, and/or creative than others. Because of these erroneous policies, the standard of education in Europe and even in the United States of America has plummeted because of the assumption that the standards should be lowered for the new immigrants so that they do not feel unequal. Although I have nothing but revulsion at the monstrosity of his actions, nonetheless, I fully understand where he is coming from. During his trial, he will prove to be very sophisticated, articulate, and forthright. His mission, as he perceives it, is to save Christian Europe from Islam. Believe it or not, there will be more copycat acts like his in many other countries conducted by both Muslims and nationalists. Whether the leftists like it or not, Europe will not be the same after this horrible event. Europe will undergo an even more traumatic experience during his trial.